What happens when the spotlight fades and the shadows grow longer? At 73, Steven Seagal's life reads less like a straightforward triumph and more like a complex, reflective journey. From meteoric stardom as a martial arts sensation to the shifting tides of Hollywood fame, his story captures the fragile balance between public acclaim and private reality. Behind the action-packed films and larger-than-life persona lies a tale of perseverance, choices, and the human cost of a life lived in the public eye. Seagal's rise, his reinventions, and the quieter moments of his later years reveal a man whose journey has been as much about resilience as it has been about cinematic legend. Humble beginnings. Steven Seagal's story began in Lansing, Michigan in 1952, before his family relocated to Fullerton, California. His childhood was marked by frailty and asthma, challenges that might have held back many young boys. But for Seagal, these obstacles sparked a fascination with physical discipline and martial arts. As a teenager, he discovered Aikido, a practice relatively unknown in the West at the time. The fluid, precise movements of the art captivated him, laying the foundation for a life that would soon bridge cultures and continents. His dedication was unusual for someone so young, and it reflected an early understanding that focus, persistence, and inner strength often matter more than physical talent alone. Journey to Japan. By the early 1970s, Seagal had traveled to Japan, a rare achievement for a young American martial artist. There, he immersed himself in the culture, mastering the intricacies of Aikido, and eventually becoming one of the first foreigners to operate an Aikido dojo in Japan. This accomplishment was both personal and professional. It demonstrated discipline, respect, and the ability to navigate a world far removed from his American upbringing. His fluency in Japanese and deep engagement with local traditions further strengthened his credibility, and his reputation as a serious martial artist began to grow internationally. For Seagal, these years were formative, shaping both his physical skill and the worldview that he would later bring to Hollywood. The leap to Hollywood. The transition to Hollywood was neither guaranteed nor straightforward. Seagal's unique combination of martial arts mastery, quiet charisma, and timing set him apart from countless others pursuing film careers. Initially working as an instructor for private clients in Los Angeles, he also served as a bodyguard for notable figures in the entertainment industry. One of these clients, Hollywood agent Michael Oiz, recognized Seagal's aura and precision and encouraged him to explore acting opportunities. That leap paid off spectacularly. In 1988, Seagal debuted in Above the Law, portraying Nico Tassani, a former CIA operative turned cop. The role was a revelation. Audiences were captivated by his understated intensity and the authentic martial arts techniques he brought to the screen. The film's success, earning nearly $19 million in the United States, marked the beginning of a remarkable rise. The action star emerges. Seagal's momentum accelerated quickly. Films like Hard to Kill, 1990, Marked for Death, 1990, and Out for Justice, 1991, solidified his reputation as a distinctive action hero. Unlike the muscular, larger-than-life personas of his contemporaries, Seagal's appeal rested on controlled intensity, precise martial arts, and a calm, unwavering demeanor. This style reached its pinnacle with Under Siege, 1992, a high-profile film that paired him with seasoned actors and achieved impressive box office returns worldwide. For audiences, he offered something fresh, action grounded in skill, not spectacle, tension built on discipline, not theatrics. His presence reminded viewers that heroism could be understated yet commanding, a quality that helped him stand out in a crowded cinematic landscape. The duality of public image. Yet alongside the rising acclaim, Seagal also began constructing a public persona that blurred the lines between the screen and real life. He wasn't simply portraying heroes. He was embodying them in ways that reinforced his brand. Martial arts mastery, spiritual curiosity, and a sense of global perspective became part of his public image. Stories about his background, including various cultural and philosophical interests, added layers of mystique. Over time, the myth and the man became intertwined, creating both fascination and scrutiny. This delicate balance between image and authenticity would continue to define his career and influence how audiences perceived him long after the height of his fame. Reinvention through creativity. By the mid-1990s, Seagal had begun exploring new avenues beyond acting. He directed and starred in On Deadly Ground, 1994, a film that combined martial arts action with environmental themes. While critics offered mixed reviews, the project highlighted his desire to merge entertainment with purpose. He also pursued music, releasing blues albums that reflected personal interests and offered a glimpse into the man behind the films. These ventures demonstrated a willingness to challenge himself creatively, even if commercial success was not guaranteed. In retrospect, they reveal an artist striving for depth and authenticity, a reminder that Seagal's story is not only about fame, but also about personal growth and exploration. Challenges of a changing industry. As the 2000s approached, the cinematic landscape shifted dramatically. Hollywood began favoring ensemble casts, high-tech action, and franchises over solo martial arts heroes. For Seagal, this transition was a defining challenge. Opportunities in mainstream cinema became scarce, and he gradually moved toward direct-to-video projects. Films like Exit Wounds, 2001, and Half Past Dead, 2002, retained his signature action style, but lacked the reach and visibility of earlier work. While some productions were modest successes, they marked the beginning of a period in which Seagal's prominence in Hollywood was steadily declining. Reality television and public engagement. In an effort to remain connected to audiences, Seagal embraced reality television, notably with Steven Seagal, Lawman, which premiered in 2009. Filmed in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, the show documented his work as a reserve deputy sheriff, blending martial arts philosophy with everyday law enforcement. For viewers, the program offered an unusual perspective on a former action star navigating real-world responsibilities. Critics debated the balance between authenticity and entertainment, but the series underscored Seagal's willingness to explore new mediums, even as traditional Hollywood doors closed. The international stage. While his Hollywood star was dimming, Seagal's international profile remained strong. He cultivated connections abroad, notably in Russia, where his martial arts reputation and public persona opened doors in political and cultural spheres. Citizenship, diplomatic appointments, and participation in international events allowed Seagal to reinvent himself in ways that extended beyond cinema. These developments reflected a keen understanding of personal branding and opportunity. When one stage closes, another may open. At the same time, such endeavors demonstrated the complex nature of fame and the adaptability required to navigate a globalized cultural landscape. Health and reflection. With age, the physical demands of martial arts and action films inevitably left their mark. Observers noticed changes in mobility, and Seagal adjusted his public appearances and film work accordingly. Chairs and body doubles became practical tools rather than signs of decline, reflecting a pragmatic approach to sustaining activity while respecting physical limitations. In many ways, this stage of life emphasized the human element behind the legend. Even a figure defined by discipline and strength must contend with time, health, and the shifting capacity to perform. Lessons in legacy. Steven Seagal's story is a reminder that legacies are rarely simple. Fame can be both exhilarating and fragile. The public persona, the hero, the martial artist, the global figure, coexists with the private individual navigating choices, setbacks, and opportunities. His films, particularly early works like Above the Law and Hard to Kill, remain touchstones for martial arts cinema, inspiring new generations of practitioners and action enthusiasts. Even ventures that were less commercially successful, from music to direct-to-video films, reflect a willingness to experiment, challenge, and explore identity in ways few stars attempt. The interplay of myth and reality. Seagal's career also illustrates the tension between myth-making and authenticity. Public perception is a powerful force, and for a long time he leveraged a carefully crafted image. Martial arts mastery, philosophical interests, and international engagement created a persona larger than life. Over time, audiences began to see both the strengths and vulnerabilities behind that image. The story of Seagal highlights the balance every public figure faces: how to reconcile the expectations of the world with the realities of personal life. Cultural impact. Beyond individual films or media appearances, Seagal contributed to the spread and awareness of Aikido and martial arts culture worldwide. Students inspired by his films may never have discovered the discipline otherwise. His presence in cinema offered an alternative vision of heroism, one rooted in skill, patience, and inner control rather than sheer physical dominance. In this sense, his impact transcends box office numbers, leaving a subtle but enduring influence on martial arts enthusiasts and filmmakers alike. Navigating change. Perhaps one of the most significant themes of Seagal's story is adaptation. While Hollywood evolved, he sought new ways to remain relevant, from reality television to international cultural diplomacy. These efforts, though met with mixed reception, demonstrate resilience and a refusal to retreat entirely from the public eye. They illustrate the complexity of maintaining relevance in an industry where trends shift rapidly and where past success does not guarantee future opportunity. A life beyond the spotlight. At 73, Seagal's life is a mix of reflection, reinvention, and legacy building. He has navigated early stardom, creative exploration, international recognition, and the inevitable challenges of aging. Each chapter, from the dojo in Japan to Hollywood premieres and later global engagements, tells a story of persistence and ambition. The public may remember him for his martial arts films, but the full narrative encompasses far more: cultural engagement, personal growth, and the ongoing pursuit of purpose. Conclusion. Shadows and continuity. Steven Seagal's journey reminds us that fame is a fleeting spotlight and that the human story behind public personas is rich with complexity. Triumphs, challenges, and reinvention coexist, forming a legacy that is neither purely celebratory nor entirely diminished. While his cinematic peak is firmly in the past, his contributions to martial arts culture, creative exploration, and international engagement remain noteworthy. Seagal's life underscores a universal truth: behind every legend lies a human navigating choices, setbacks, and the pursuit of meaning, long after the applause fades. His story, in all its layers, invites reflection on fame, identity, and the enduring balance between public myth and personal reality.